Hello and welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Bet you weren't expecting this when you tuned into a channel in downtown Paphos. Pretty bad weather. Unfortunately, second week of January has hit it. And normally, I'm not trying to scare people off now, but often at this time of year, we do get that little bit of rain that shocks in Optimus. And of course, when it rains, it can be quite dramatic and the roads can vanish very, very quickly indeed. Not that that bothers us locals, because often we're not even driving around on the roads, we're driving in the middle of the roads, on pavements and those kind of things. So it doesn't really bother us. But if you're in Paphos and it starts to rain very, very heavy indeed, I suggest you pull over, because normally the weather only lasts for about 15 to 20 minutes or so. We're in the downtown Rikos beach area of Paphos, and we're going to wiggle and we are going to waggle our way through central Paphos as we head towards the Paphos Neon Mall. Why are we going there? Well, it's time for a coffee. It's as simple as that. Coffee and, I think, a croissant. And you never know, I might get to bump into the superstar, Mr. Brian. It is a Yaris. He'll be hunting me down in the underground car park. So stick with us, don't click off just yet. We're going to head up towards the purpose-built ring road. And I warn you now, whether it's raining or not, on the roads in Paphos, they are, what should we say, clamping down on speeding and illegalities in your driving, but in particular speeding and talking on mobile phones and those kind of things. So the speed limit predominantly in and around Paphos is 50 kilometres an hour. You can ignore the 30s, nobody cares about those, but more often than not you'll see 50 and 65. You're allowed to go 20% over the speed limit that you see. So if you drive around at 60 kilometres an hour, to be honest, you can't go far wrong, and you can't get yourself into much trouble. And remember, the boys and the girls in blue are sitting around the corner and they're waiting especially for you. And on top of all that, they've got camera vans as well, and cameras on traffic lights. Yes, so it's getting quite difficult, and it could get quite expensive very, very soon indeed when you're driving around Paphos. So get used to it, slow down a little bit. So this is the inner ring road, as we call it, purpose-built road that connects in and around Paphos, and normally it's the fastest way to get around, but of course don't go booting it, because as I've just told you, there's one or two cameras and zappers waiting just for you. So there you see 65, so you can travel along here, what, about 78, but just stick to 60, 65. It's simple. If someone decides to stick themselves up at your bottom, it's very simple. What you do, take your foot off and go a little bit slower, just to annoy them a little bit more. Downtown Paphos on a slightly rainy, slightly chilly day. All that's missing is you. I tell you what, come on, get yourself on a big bird or a canoe. Start paddling like crazy. It's Paphos, Cyprus, Marika and me. Oh yeah, we're waiting especially for you. Big shout out to one or two of the stars who like to watch the show now and again. If you're in downtown Manchester and your name's Miss Jenny and there's a Mr. Ben in your life, very, very happy new year to you, and we're looking forward to seeing you again this summer season. Of course, it's not that far away, and we've been following the progress on your house, and it's all looking lovely and grey, because we all know that everyone likes a nice bit of greyness in their property these days. Very, very much in fashion and very, very much in vogue. And Jenny's a girl who's in vogue. And a big shout out to the superstar, the #1 Viking Paul Butler, downtown Manchester. Hopefully it's not as rainy and as drizzly as downtown Paphos. Drop it in the comments. Paphos roundabout, if you go down to the left, you go down towards the Passidonis Avenue and the promenade area, but we're going to go uphill. We're on the inner ring road and we are heading to Midtown Paphos, and we'll go into the Paphos Neon Mall. Now there's big things coming to the Neon Mall, by the way. For those of you who know where it's located, it opened up in about 2009, started off as a supermarket and one or two little shops. Unfortunately, it got itself into trouble and went into bankruptcy in about 2011. It then remained closed all the way until about 21, wasn't it? Then it rebooted up as the Neon Mall of Paphos, and it's not a bad mall, but there's not a lot going on there. But the greatest coffee shop, it's got the home centre DIY, which is a very, very popular operation. In a month or so, we've got little supermarket opening up there. Yeah, so great parking, great location. Of course, Lidl's opening. But on top of that, in the rear car park, that car park's going to be vanishing. Yeah, because they're going to double it in size and they're going to build another 1,600 square metres of shops and offices. And there's going to be a rooftop restaurant. I've seen the sketch, I've seen the drawings, and I'll tell you what, in 18 months, that is going to be a proper mall. So don't forget to keep coming back and checking out on my little channel, Marika and me, now and again. And you never know, you might get a little tidbit of information that you didn't know about. Now, this little crossroads here, if you can avoid all of the sunken manholes and potholes, if you go to the left, you're in the Universal area, and if you go to the right, I don't know what it's called, but if you go to the right, you come out in the back end of the skip room. There we go, you see? And you've got the Oasis Hospital on the left hand side, private hospital. Of course, if you are on the Cypriot National Health Service, or GESI, you can go there as well. Everyone's driving quite carefully because they understand, well, it's that little bit easier to have a bit of an accident, isn't it, in the rain? There's no doubt about that. And I'm quite surprised about how much traffic is out, because in general, a lot of the locals and the word rain, or the thought of rain, and well, they run for the mountaintops. Coming up now is the former Debenhams roundabout. That's where it used to be, just over yonder, and it's been closed for a couple of years now. And it's going to reboot up one of these days when they knock it all down, and they're going to build a big jumbo superstore. That's a store that sells things cheaply. Often most of the things it sells are cheap as well, but for some reason people do have a fixation with jumbo. They go in there with the intention of, I don't know, buying some for €1, and 4 days later they come out having spent €4,000. It's one of those kind of shops, and once you've entered, you can't get out. As simple as that. Like B&M bargains, I think, in the UK, isn't it? Very similar. A man's nightmare of a shop, although ladies do seem to like visiting jumbo. You want to buy a Hyundai, however you say it, or a Volvo, that could be the place for you. Hyundai is definitely very, very reliable cars, aren't they? So next time Paul is going to be wise, you know, and he's going to buy a car that's clever and sensible and reliable. So it's going to be a Toyota, a Lexus, a Hyundai, or a Kia, that's for sure. Neon Mall of Paphos is coming up very, very soon. What's the price of benzene? £1.45. I think that's what I spotted. So on that note, if you like what you see, hit the like, click that subscribe, and don't forget to keep coming back for a little bit more of our complete and utter madness. And by hitting the like, by hitting that subscribe button, doesn't cost you a single penny, by the way. It just tells YouTube that you like what you've seen, and perhaps they should recommend it to like-minded people like yourselves. But if you do want to keep the channel afloat, it's very, very simple to do. All you have to do is Google these magic words: buy me a coffee, Marika and me. Up will come our landing page, and that will give you an opportunity to read a little bit more about us. And of course, you can then choose to read some of the comments and perhaps virtually gift us a coffee or two. And we thank you from the bottom of our two hearts. You can also choose to become one of our superstar members at only €10 a month. That's all it costs to get yourself a special title, to get yourself that a little bit closer to Marika and me. Birthday shout outs, anniversary shout outs, and of course, on top of all of that, coming very, very soon indeed, is the Marika and me privilege card. Get yourself on that list, because that will entitle you to discounts and privileges in and around Paphos, in particular in the Paphos Harbour and the Paphos Promenade area. This is the Neon Mall of Paphos on a damp, chilly day. There's one or two brave people that have come out. That's the coffee shop on the end there, and that's where I'm going to go and sit and well, get myself a nice hot latte, and I think I'll have a croissant as well. But I don't like to park up here. In the summer your car gets cooked, and when it's raining you get wet. So if you've got a bit of common sense, all you've got to do is pop down here into the undercover car parking. So in the summer the car doesn't get cooked and you don't get cooked, and when it's raining you don't get wet and it doesn't get wet. Here we are, downtown car park in the Neon Mall of Paphos. Well, let's go and see if we can get the best parking space in the house. Fortunately, some sneaky little buggers have already taken it. Never mind. We'll go and get the second best parking space in the house, which is that one right there. There you go, right by the door. More Cypriot than any Cypriot could ever be. I'm going to say thanks for watching. If you like what you see, hit the like, click that subscribe, and don't forget to keep coming back for a little bit more of my complete and utter madness. Let's hope for better weather tomorrow. See you again very, very soon indeed.